in the quiet town of Maple Ridge, North Carolina, where tall pine trees whispered in the summer breeze and church bells chimed across sleepy streets. One family's journey home took an unexpected detour into the heart of America's ongoing struggle with justice and prejudice. Isaac Bennett, a disciplined man in his early 40s, was returning from a weekend visit to Durham with his wife, Denise, and their 17-year-old son, Caleb. The trip had been a much-needed escape. Family barbecues, laughter echoing over backyard fences, and lazy evenings spent reminiscing on porches dusted with fireflies. But now, as they made their way back toward Charleston, the Bennett family found themselves caught in a very different kind of story. "Did you remember to grab your sketchbook?" Denise asked, glancing up from the GPS on her phone. "Checked it twice?" Isaac said, adjusting the rearview mirror with military precision. A retired Marine, his habits of discipline and alertness never quite left him. "I think I left my earbuds in Aunt Monica's guest room," Caleb muttered from the back seat, scrolling through his music library. "I guess that means one quiet drive for all of us," Isaac joked, earning a chuckle from Denise and an eye roll from his son. The road stretched ahead, long and winding, framed by fields of golden wheat and the occasional roadside fruit stand. It was mid-morning, and the sun lit the landscape with a warm, nostalgic glow. The world felt simple, peaceful, even if Isaac knew better than to fully trust that calm. "Let's stop for breakfast," he said after spotting a faded sign. "There's a place up ahead called Mabel's Country Kitchen. These mom-and-pop diners usually have the best food." Denise nodded. "Just as long as they have grits and real butter. I'm not doing those powdered packets today." As they turned off the main road, Caleb looked up from his phone. The diner appeared through a stand of pines, an old white building with red shutters, and a gravel parking lot filled mostly with pickup trucks. An American flag fluttered next to the porch, and a rusted swing creaked gently in the wind. The sign read, "Mabel's Country Kitchen, home of the Big Biscuit." The family stepped out of their dark blue SUV. Isaac immediately sensed the stillness, the kind that wasn't natural, like the quiet before a storm. He scanned the porch. Two men in denim overalls paused their conversation to glance their way. Their stares weren't hostile, but they weren't welcoming either. "Keep your head up," he murmured to Caleb, who instinctively pocketed his phone. Inside, the diner smelled of bacon and brewed coffee. The decor hadn't changed in decades. Checkered curtains, a jukebox in the corner, and a display case filled with pies under plastic domes. But the real chill came not from the air conditioning, but the sudden hush that fell as they entered. Conversations paused. Forks hovered in midair. Eyes followed them to a waitress with tight curls and a tired expression stepped forward, clutching a notepad. Her name tag read Sandy. "Table for 3?" she asked, with a tone that was polite, but without warmth. "Yes, please," Isaac replied evenly. Sandy led them to a booth by the window. Caleb slid in first, then Denise. Isaac took the outer seat, his back to the wall, an old habit from his time overseas. He scanned the room. At the back, near the kitchen window, a Confederate flag patch was sewn onto a cook's denim vest. Isaac said nothing. Neither did Denise. But Caleb noticed. "Seriously?" he whispered, eyes wide. Isaac placed a hand on his son's arm. "Eyes on your food, son. That's not why we're here." Sandy returned with 3 menus. "Coffee." "Yes, please," Denise said quickly. "And orange juice for him." "Coffee's fine," Caleb said, lifting his chin slightly. Sandy scribbled something, then turned without a word. "I don't like this place," Caleb muttered. "Just breathe," Isaac said. "We'll eat and be gone in 30 minutes." But fate had other plans. The bell above the door jingled. A police officer walked in, tall, broad-shouldered, with reflective sunglasses and the kind of stride that drew attention. The name stitched on his uniform read Deputy Harlan Reeves. A few locals nodded in his direction. "Mornin', Deputy." One said from the counter, "Morning," Reeves replied, his voice carrying across the room. He spotted the Bennetts immediately and made his way toward the counter, but his eyes lingered on Caleb. Isaac didn't flinch, but Denise stiffened. Reeves pulled out a chair and sat, ordering a black coffee. But after a few minutes, he stood up and casually walked toward their booth. "You folks just passing through?" he asked, addressing Caleb more than the others. Yes, sir, Caleb replied, polite but wary. We were visiting family in Durham. Heading home to Charleston now. Reeves nodded slowly. Had a little trouble last night. Someone broke into the Shell station down the road. Took cash and cigarettes. Witness said it was a young man. Black. Hoodie. About your build. Isaac's hands folded calmly on the table. My son's been with us the entire weekend. We have photos, timestamps, receipts, everything. Reeves raised an eyebrow. You saying I can't ask a few questions? I'm saying you're implying something serious with zero evidence, Isaac replied, voice calm but unmistakably firm. Reeves leaned in slightly. Sir, I'm doing my job. Caleb's breathing quickened. I didn't do anything, he said, voice shaking. Reeves took a step closer. Stand up for me, son. No, Isaac said, rising to his seat in a fluid motion. His frame towered over the deputies. He's not going anywhere. You have no warrant, no probable cause, and no reason to harass my son. The diner went silent again. Even the jukebox stopped mid-song. Reeves' hand hovered near his holster. You obstructing an officer now? Denise stood. We're a family trying to eat breakfast. This is profiling, plain and simple. I said stand up. Reeves barked, now directly at Caleb. A moment of unbearable tension filled the air. Isaac stepped slightly in front of the son. We are not a threat. You are escalating the situation without justification. The bell above the door jingled again. Another officer entered, then two more. Their presence turned a tense moment into a powder keg. Is this really necessary? Denise asked, her voice cracking under pressure. Then, from the far end of the diner, a gravelly voice spoke. Reeves, that's enough. Everyone turned. An elderly white man, wearing a faded navy cap, slowly rose from a corner booth. His name was Walter Grady. He had lived in Maple Ridge his whole life and served in Vietnam. People listened when he spoke. You're out of line, Walter continued. These folks ain't done a thing wrong. Let them eat in peace. Another woman, middle-aged, stood as well. I saw them come in. They were polite. It's that boy's first sip of coffee, for heaven's sake. Others murmured agreement. Reeves looked around. The mood had shifted. This ain't over, he growled, before turning and walking out, the other officers trailing behind him. Isaac exhaled slowly. His shoulders lowered just a fraction. Caleb sat, pale and silent, his hands clenched into fists. Thank you, Isaac said quietly to Walter as the man returned to his booth. You did nothing wrong, Walter said. That's the only thanks I need. A few minutes later, Isaac pulled out his wallet and placed enough cash on the table to cover the uneaten breakfast. Then he gently touched Caleb's shoulder. Let's go. The family walked back out into the sunlight, every step heavy but defiant. As they got into their SUV, Caleb finally broke the silence. Why did he do that? He asked. He looked at me like I was already guilty. Isaac started the engine, the low hum filling the silence. Because some people still see skin before they see soul. Caleb swallowed. So what do we do now? We keep living. We speak up. We protect each other. And we make sure the next time that happens, someone like you is ready to stand tall. They drove away from Maple Ridge, the trees casting long shadows across the road. But the darkness behind them couldn't dim the fire that now burned in each of them. Isaac looked at his son through the rear-view mirror. Caleb's gaze was out the window, but his eyes were no longer filled with fear. They were filled with something stronger, resolve. The world hadn't changed in that diner, but something inside Caleb had. And Isaac knew their family's journey had taken on a new meaning. This wasn't just about breakfast. This was about a stand, a line drawn not in chalk, but in courage, and they would never let it fade.